Welcome to Excellence Yojana series, and today we are going to continue with Chapter 4, A Biological Paradise. To introduce the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, they are in the Bay of Bengal region, and it's an archipelago consisting of 836 islands, islets, and rocky outcrops extending over 800 kilometers. The islands were once a part of the Asian landmass but then got disconnected some 100 million years ago during the Upper Mesozoic period due to geological upheaval. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands can be generally divided into two groups, that is, the Andamans and the Nicobars. They are separated by 10-degree channel, which is about 150 km wide and 400 fathoms deep. The highest elevation is Saddle Peak, which is 732 meter in North Andaman, and Mount Thulia of 642 meter in the Great Nicobar. The annual precipitation is slightly higher in the Nicobar with an average of 3000 to 3500 millimeter. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands support very luxuriant and rich vegetation due to its tropical, hot and humid climate with abundant rains. These islands have four types of forest, that is tropical wet evergreen, tropical semi-evergreen, tropical moist deciduous, littoral and swamp forest. In addition to this, 13 different types of forests are classified. The total geographical area under forest land is 6,742.78 km, that is 81.74% of the total geographical area is under the forest land. This is as per the State Forest Report of 2019. An extraordinary variety of habitat types ranging from beaches to coral reefs, mangroves, mountains with dense forest characterize the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The coral reefs of Andaman and Nicobar are the second richest found in the world. These islands provide different varieties of animal life, of which the coral reefs ecosystem constitutes the most fragile and interesting faunal element as elsewhere in the Indo-Pacific reels. According to the available literature, a total of 21,663 marine species have been reported from India. It includes marine algae and mangroves. Out of these, 20,444 species contributed by animals have been distributed in Indian seas. Overall, 1,200 species of terrestrial and marine fauna of Andaman and Nicobar Islands have been listed under various schedules of Wildlife Protection Act 1972. The long isolation of these islands from the subcontinent has resulted in high endemicity of terrestrial faunal and floral elements. More than 10% of the plants are endemic. An estimated about 871 species from the terrestrial ecosystem. Among the invertebrates, butterflies have more than 70% of endemism at the subspecies level. So let's have a look at the marine ecosystem, which is the porifera in the first. The sponges are worldwide in their distribution from the polar region to the tropics. The highest number of sponges were generally found on firm surfaces of the rocks, but some sponges can attach themselves to soft sediment by means of a root-like base. Generally, most species of sponges are seen in shallow waters and are also distributed in the deep oceans. Around 512 species of sponges are recorded from Indian waters. Among them, 130 species are from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. A total of 12 species of calcareous sponges were reported from Indian waters and are protected under the Schedule 3 of the Indian Wildlife Protection Act 1972. If we see under Scyphozoa, they are commonly known as true jellyfish. The Scyphozoans taxon come under phylum Cnidaria. According to the recent estimates, 191 species belong to the 3 orders and 20 families were recorded. A total of 5 Scyphozoan species were reported from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now let's see the anthozoans or the scleratinian corals. I've given the image of this. The scleractinian corals of Indian water are highly diverse than other parts of the tropical reefs. A total of 424 species of scleractinian corals belonging to 19 families were reported from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The reefs are mainly dominated by the family of Acroporidae, Favidae, Poritidae, Fungidae and Agaricidae. Let's see about the Octo corals. They are commonly called Alionarians, order Octocorolla. 8 polyp tentacles are distinguished from the art corals, 6 or multiple of 6 polyp tentacles, by the number of polyp tentacles. They consist of soft corals, sea whips, sea fans, sea pens, tube corals and blue corals. Platyhelminthes, flatworms, also known as polyclads, belong to the order Polycladida, class Turbellariae, under the phylum Platyhelminthes. They are exclusively marine and free-living organisms. These animals are one of the most common inhabitants of the coral reefs. The Zoological Survey of India has documented 47 species under 10 genera, which includes 7 new records to Indian waters and 6 new species. Let's see the crustaceans. The crustaceans belong to the phylum Arthropoda and include both marine and terrestrial forms of life. These highly diverse animals consist of economically important groups such as crabs, shrimps, and lobsters. Out of 2,394 species of crustaceans that have been reported from India, marine species account for 94.85%. A total of 897 species were recorded from the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, of which 388 species are brachiarian crabs and 129 are the species of shrimps. The molluscans are mainly a sorted phylum in the reef ecosystems. And also, this fauna is the second species-rich phylum in the world after the arthropods. In India, 5,070 species of mollusca have been recorded from freshwater, land, as well as from the marine habitats. The Echinodermata or Holothuroidea, or called sea cucumbers. They are commonly known as sea cucumbers. They are abundant and diverse group of worm-like and usually soft-bodied echinoderms. About 1,100 species have been recorded worldwide till now, whereas India represents 179 species. Acidians. Acidia is a marine invertebrate animal. It is specified as a class which is commonly known as the Acidians or sea squids. They are categorized under the subphylum Tunicata and phylum Chordata, which includes all the animals with dorsal nerve cords and notochords. A total of 442 species were recorded from Indian waters, while 57 Acidians were recorded from the Andaman and Nicobar Islands itself. Let's see the Pisces and the Mammalia. The ichthyofaunal diversity of India accounts for a total of 2,735 species, of which Andaman and Nicobar Islands contribute to 58% of the total diversity. The marine animals include representatives of three major orders, namely Cetacea, that is whales, dolphins and porpoises, Sirenia, manatees and dugong, and Carnivora, that is sea otters, polar bears and pinnipeds. A total of 26 species of marine mammals were recorded from Indian waters, of which 7 species of marine mammals were recorded from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now let's have a look at the terrestrial ecosystem. Coming to the terrestrial ecosystem, let's have a look with the protozoans. They are important bioindicators for pollution and environmental biomonitoring, particularly in water purification plants and activated sludge processes. A total of 2,577 species of protozoans were reported from India. A total of only 9 species of protozoans were recorded from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The mollusks, the land and freshwater mollusks. The land snails form an important component in the forest ecosystem. There are about 5,070 species of mollusca which have been recorded from India, of which 283 species are freshwater and 1,487 species are land mollusca. A total of 152 species of freshwater and land mollusks were reported from the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Annelida. The annelids, known as the ringed worms or the segmented worms, are a large phylum with over 17,000 extant species, including ragworms, earthworms, and leeches. A total of 840 annelids were recorded from India, and 193 species were recorded from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The insects. They have evolved even before the origin of dinosaurs. They have adapted to almost every conceivable type of environment, from the equator to the Arctic and from the sea level to the snow field of the highest mountains. The compositions of the insect group indicates of 7 orders, that is Lepidoptera, Coleoptera, Hemiptera, Diptera, Hymenoptera, Orthoptera and Odonta, which comprises the 93% bulk of the fauna, that is Odonta. The Lepidoptera or the butterflies and nymphs. This group has small to very large in size insects, commonly known as butterflies and moths. So far, 305 species belonging to 125 genera under 9 families of butterflies are reported from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Of this, 155 species are endemic to these islands. Let's see Odonata. They are amphibiotic insects, commonly known as dragonflies or damselfly. The adults are large, predaceous living insects. They have colorful bodies and clear wings and make swift flying movements. 72 species belonging to 39 genera pertaining to 11 families are reported from Andaman and Nicobar Islands so far. Only 11 are endemic to these islands. Pisces, they are freshwater fish, are those that spend some or all of their lives in fresh waters such as rivers and lakes with a salinity of less than 0.05%. A total of 951 species of freshwater are reported from Indian freshwater, of which 77 species are recorded from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Amphibia. A total of 19 species of amphibians were recorded from the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Reptilia. A total of 82 species were recorded from Andaman and Nicobar Islands, including 39 species of snakes, 15 species of geckos, 11 species of skinks, 9 species of lizards, 7 species of tortoises, 1 species of crocodiles who have contributed to the description of species of reptilia. Aves. A total of 377 species or subspecies of birds were recorded. Around 30 species are endemic, of which 21 species are recorded from Andaman Island group and 9 species from the Nicobar Island group are known to be limited in distribution on the islands. A total of 42 species are the threatened birds. Mammalia. A total of 426 species of mammals were reported from India. A total of 60 species of mammals were recorded from the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So let's have a look at the representative fauna of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The coconut crab or Birgus latro. The coconut crab or robber crab or palm thief crab comes under the family of Corcnobitidae and infraorder Anomura. The coconut crab is the largest terrestrial arthropod in the world, which is related to hermit crabs and lobsters. This is the only species of the genus Birgus that can be adapted to exist on land and is also dependent on marine water for the pelagic larvae. The size of adult coconut crabs can be varied. It can grow up to 40 centimeter. A leg can reach more than 0.91 meter. The species carries an empty gastropod shell for protection at the juvenile stage, but the adults develop a strong exoskeleton on their abdomens and stop carrying a shell. The long-tailed macaque. It inhabits Great Nicobar Island, Kachal Island and Little Nicobar Island in the Nicobar Islands. Their preferred habitats are mangroves and coastal forests. They are also found in inland forests at an altitude of up to 600 meters above the sea level. The long-tailed macaque is an endangered primate in India and it has been listed in Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Narcondam hornbill. There are 55 different species of hornbills found in Asia and Africa, of which 31 species of hornbills are present in Asia. There are 9 species of Indian hornbills, of which 4 species are endemic to India, and among them, one species is present in Narkondam Island. The species is considered vulnerable according to IUCN Red List. It is protected under Schedule 1 under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. The Nicobar megapod. It belongs to the family of megapods and Megapodiae. The IUCN has categorized these megapod species as vulnerable. These species are found only in the Nicobar Islands of India. To look at the conservation efforts, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands are located in the equatorial belt and have been endowed with an abundance of flora and fauna. Many species are endemic and restricted to small areas because of the island's geographic isolation. Due to the mentioned reasons, any change in the natural systems can affect the ecosystem in a chaotic way. In order to conserve the ecosystem, 87% of the areas are declared as protected areas. There are 105 protected areas, of which 9 are national parks, 96 are wildlife sanctuaries that have been established over an area of 1,271.12 km on land and 349.04 square kilometer in the surrounding territorial sea. Apart from this, the Great Nicobar is declared as the Biosphere Reserve to protect the endemic fauna of these islands.